Mum, can I guess who's near?
On the way out, yes, not on the way in.
Oh, okay. Wait, what? So
I'll tell you the story about that. Where we live.
So there is stuff you can buy for a commemorative for a yeah. Yeah. Keep calm.
No, not those. Coats of armour. They're better than that.
Is that good?
Can you get in London?
Which one? Which one?
Well, in the meantime,
Yes.
They're the nice ones.
Cost us £2.50. Not kidding.
so when you phoned me at 4 o'clock, I read that weather's getting
Old names.
twice more.
Old English names.
So is it shelter housing?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's Greeky.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, you boy.
We need some magnets.
Oh, look at these yo-yos.
Oh, we should look. These are the names, old English names. Can we see if we can?
Find the pigs.
Peace.
Philip.
Chirping will be. Wow, I will be very.
Wait, up here, Mum, up here.
P.
Ellis! He doesn't know where. That's my friend.
These are little trinkets.
Keveling. Oof.
We would like to buy some, but we don't want to buy a broken one.
Okay, look for it.
Kaleidoscope.
That's what that's what flies look like. It was the King's and Queen's one. Pick up sticks. Hello.
Hello. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. A record of a day trip in the
Yes, lovely, lovely.
Right, shall we?
Yeah, let's
To
go.
look back on.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right idea. You know, have you already been to the house?
Yes, it's lovely. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes, and I came into living here in 1958, and it was the vicarage then, and I've even had tea here. Yes.
So you're not living here in?
Yes, in Ely, yes, since
Since
1958.
1958.
Yes.
That's a while. No, I haven't lived here since 1960. No. All over the country. I've
Have
lived
you really?
everywhere in the country. I've
Have
lived.
you?
Yeah, all over the place and abroad. So I think in Cambridgeshire and Hertfordshire the longest.
Goodness.
So we live at Chatham's.
Do you?
Been there for
Oh,
about
right.
5 years. And
Yes,
Yeah.
my daughter used to live there a while ago. I want to go back. They've got somewhere near their fossil museum and all that sort of
yes,
thing.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
in March this time.
March.
That's
oh,
it, yeah.
So I'm going to say I can't remember what year, but my daughter and I, we used to do a tea stall at March Market.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
that's about 10 or 11 years ago, I should think.
It's a nice little market, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a nice
yes,
little market.
yes.
Right, we better get in here before we run out of time, darling.
Yes. Okay.
Right,
Cheerio. Thank you.
Thank you, yes, thank you. Lovely, I'll
Be careful.
put that together then. Yeah.
Have an idea of
Yes.
what souvenir I'm gonna get.
What's that?
Ah,
No,
let's go.
I might put that in the right bit of passport. I mean, I'll just show you something else. Excuse me.
all right.
This is what I'm going to like today. You don't have to belong to anything, they just turn up. They always make you welcome.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Oh, that's good.
yes, a
anyone-
off Ship Lane car park. They're very, very helpful.
Being warm and have a cup of tea.
Yeah, that's right. They make lovely refreshments.
Oh,
Right. Firework night, they always provide them for the whole of the Ely.
Oh, wow. That's nice. We'll keep it.
Until the 20th of December.
But it
Right, £1 million get
will
in.
help Papa to.
Just out for
Okay, we're going in.
Hey. Hello.
yourself, Pussy, you're still doing it. You just move out the way. Thank you.
So there will be three of us, yeah. What is it?
It's a chocolate eel bar.
Chocolate bar.
That'll be £8.70
Can I?
in total.
Okay, thank you.
This is now my souvenir.
Wow, look at that. Chocolate.
On the way out.
Okay, you get them two, and then these I'm not going to eat. I'm just going to keep it as like, I'm going to store it. I'm not going to eat it. Mum, do you know yet? Okay, if I can keep this for 2 years, you give me £500.
£500 for doing that.
I'm not going to eat it.
£11.30 change for you.
Thank you.
And I'll just explain your handsets to you all. There are 2 lots of stairs, so I've only charged for 1 adult, but I'll go and set the ramp ups for the kitchen so you can still get down there. And then we've got an interactive kiosk in the first room, and you can see it.
It's alright until something happens, an accident or...
So these are your handsets. It's a self. So if you go through to the parlour when the blue light goes out, it's about a 5-minute wait. In the first room, you'll see a 5-minute film where you won't need this. In the second room, just press number 2 and follow each number round. So I'll go and set the ramp up, but you won't need it in the first room.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bro, this is cool.
Got that? We'll just put that round again.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you
day.
very much.
Bye.
Right, okay, we're ready to go. We're just got to wait for the lights to go out.
Will you use that with Mr. Sunderland before you get in the door?
Yeah, should be out there, the lights go on.
Have you heard about the man with the up here?
Let that lady go first. No, I'm going to be chair, so I'll just hold you up. So it'll be easy for you to go ahead.
Thank you. Look, use the crown.
Oh, no, that's big enough.
Was he the hero of villain? Until his son discovered his sister. Oh,
Sit yourself, Sam, I've just got to watch the film.
Welcome to Oliver Cromwell's house. This is the only surviving house that was lived in by Cromwell other than Hampton Court. But who was he, and why is he so important to British history? You have probably heard something about him.
He was one of the greatest military leaders we have ever had. Without him, Parliament never would have won a civil war.
He ordered the king to be beheaded. He was a traitor.
He was a godly man who ruled this country justly. He brought stability back after the war so that we could live in tolerance and peace.
Oliver Cromwell was born in nearby Huntingdon on April 25th, 1599. He was born into what had been one of the wealthiest families in Huntingdonshire, and although he was a gentleman, he was not a rich one. His father died in 1617, and Oliver had to leave Sidney Sussex College at Cambridge to look after the estate, his widowed mother, and then his wife Elizabeth, and ultimately their 9 children. Financially, it was a struggle, but Oliver's fortunes changed when he was left leases on various properties in Ely by his uncle. These included the one on this house.
The family moved here in 1636. Master Cromwell became very important in Ely. This imported with it the responsibility of collecting all the money, wheat and straw owed to the dean and chapter of the cathedral. We provided hospitality to all the important gentlemen of the town and from the cathedral. And when Master Cromwell became an MP, his status rose even higher.
Everything changed for Oliver Cromwell when he was in his early 40s. King Charles I began to make changes to the church in England that were unacceptable to men like Oliver. The king and his bishops introduced rituals into the churches, railed off the altars so that people could not reach them, and put ministers between the worshippers and God. These measures seemed very Roman Catholic to many people and were unacceptable to men like Cromwell. During his 20s or 30s, Cromwell had experienced a religious conversion.
Oh, I lived in and loved darkness, hated the light. I was a chief of sinners.
And for the remainder of his life, he was a zealous Protestant. He believed that God had chosen him for a purpose which would at some point be revealed to him. The changes that the king started to make to the church were against Cromwell's beliefs, and he was convinced God's purpose for him was to prevent them. He criticised the king in Parliament, his passionate and often angry speeches driven by his religious zeal. When war broke out between king and Parliament in 1642, Oliver Cromwell was one of the first MPs to take up arms and fight.
After only 3 years of war, Colonel Cromwell was second in command of the National Army of Parliament. He was a great soldier, a military genius. The whole country came to know of him because of his victories against the king.
At the end of the Civil War, the defeated king was executed in London in 1649. Parliament invited Cromwell to govern the country in his place. Eventually, he became Lord Protector and ruled England until his death in 1658, a meteoric rise from his life as a country gentleman in this house. During his life, Cromwell's actions brought both praise and condemnation. He is the most written about ruler that this country has ever had, a source of fascination and loathing. Cromwell is a historical figure that people either love or hate. We hope that at the end of your visit today, you will have decided for yourself what sort of man he was. Leave this room now by the door to the right of the screen. As soon as you are through the door, please press 2.